We all need backup. No man is an island. It is important to secure relationships, especially spiritual relationships, because it doesn't matter how strong you are, there will always be someone who is stronger than you. And one day, you are going to meet that person and you will clash with a person who is stronger than you. And when that day comes, don't waste time. Grab that phone and call for backup. You know, even the police, when they send them to arrest the criminal, when they get there and they find that the criminal is heavily armed, the police don't play. They just grab the phone and call the police station and say, backup. It is important to have backup, secure your relationships. Now I'm going to talk about Exodus 17, verse 8 up until 14. It is when Moses needed backup. Because people think spirituality is just about you praying and God being the Almighty to come and fight the battle. No, it is not like that. It is about the spiritual level. I always tell people when we say God of a person, we are talking about the spiritual level of that person. Because now Moses in this battle, he was struggling. He was even losing the battle. Because Amalek was stronger than him spiritually. Because if it is now, if we are now talking about God, Moses was just supposed to win this battle hands down, but he is struggling in this battle. It is not about the Lord Almighty, it is about the spiritual level of a person. Exodus 17, starting from verse 8 up until 14. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. Amalek was the king of the Amalekites. So Moses said to Joshua, choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. So now Moses is giving Joshua instructions to say, when you go and fight with Amalek, I will be on top of a hill with the staff of God in my hand. So sometimes before you go into a battle, it is important to let the man of God know so that he can be in prayer while you are busy fighting that battle, or else you will just go there and get overpowered. So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hands, Israel prevailed. So when Moses is keeping the staff of God on top of him, Israel is winning. So the battle is now dependent on Moses lifting up the staff of God. If now you are battling, if your man of God is lazy and is sleeping and is not always in prayer, you are going to lose on the battleground. But Moses' hand, and whenever he lowered his hands, Amalek prevailed. So when Moses lowered his hands and he got tired, Amalek started to win the battle. So now you can understand how important it is to choose the right spiritual father. Because if your spiritual father grows tired in spirit, you are going to start losing the battle on the physical plane. But Moses' hands grew weary. So they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So now they see that Moses is getting tired. Moses calls for backup to tell Aaron and Hur to say, I am tired. Help me with this thing. Hold up my left hand, hold up my right hand. It is important to have relationships, secure your relationships, especially spiritual relationships. Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. You can't be an island. It is important to have backup. Because if you fall, who is going to pick you up? Imagine if Moses was alone. They would have lost. The whole of Israel would have been killed. if Moses was alone, because Amalek was stronger than Moses spiritually. So now Moses consulted and said, Aaron, Hur, help me with this prayer so that Joshua can win on the ground. So they balanced him. They say, when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there. Matthew 18, verse 19 to 20. Again, truly I tell you that if 2 of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there in their midst. That's why now, when Aaron and Hur came through, there was a stone for Moses to sit on. Christ was there because these guys were together in prayer. The rock is there because these guys were together in prayer. When 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there. But Moses' hands grew weary. So they took a stone, that is Christ, and put it under him. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the capstone. And he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun, and Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. So now Amalek did not have backup. Because had he known that Moses is not alone, he would have called for backup to say, guys, come and help me so that we can defeat Moses. One piece of advice. If you are in a church or in an organization and you find that a lot of people are gathered against you, it is better to keep quiet or leave that organization, because they will overwhelm you, because the combination of their spirit is too big. If you are alone, you cannot defeat many people unless if you are really in the right, you are 100% right with God. That is the only time where one can chase 1,000. So it is important to have backup so that the Spirit of God can be increased. The spiritual level can be increased. Now it is Aaron, it is Moses, and it is Hur. Now they are able to defeat Amalek. I wonder who Amalek was, because this person was big spiritually, so that Moses can struggle so much against him that he can call for backup. Then the Lord said to Moses, write this as a memorial in a book and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Now, after Amalek gave them such a tough time, the God of Moses is telling Moses to say, hey, you must write this thing in a book. What happened today? You must write it in a book and repeat it in the ears of Joshua, that I will blot out the memory of Amalek under heaven. So Amalek is no longer going to be allowed in the heavens. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, the Lord is my banner, saying, a hand upon the throne of the Lord. The Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. The Lord had a problem with Amalek because Amalek was challenging them. It was an intense battle. The spiritual level of Amalek was more than the spiritual level of Moses. That's why he had to call for backup so that Christ can come and join them. Combination of people makes Christ. If we are in a church and we have 9 people with 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit, it is the same as us having the fullness of God in that church. Unity is power. I like what happened on Sunday when the churches were gathered together. Mega churches were gathered together in the name of Christ. I have never seen it anywhere in the world. But in South Africa, where mega churches are able to combine, put aside their differences and become one. When we are united, our God is bigger. That's why South Africa now is going to win, because we are united. I hope you understand the importance of unity. Khotso, ayebelele na.